I've just had to do a delivery of books to Keswick, and instead of heading straight home, I've got a couple of hours spare, so I've decided to do a short walk quite close to Keswick up to a small hill called Great Howe. It's a hill that not many people go to, but they pass it a lot because it's just by the A591, as you can probably hear by some of the traffic in the background. So we'll do this walk. It should only take a couple of hours, and it's a very pleasant route. This is one of these short walks up to a small hill, which is ideal for giving the dogs a leg stretch or taking the kids out onto, but it also affords some really fine views over Thirlmere. So once I've finished my coffee, I'll get my kit on and we'll head up onto the walk. The walk is based around the northern end of Thirlmere Reservoir, a few miles south of the town of Keswick. There's parking in a small lay-by to the west of the A591. From there we'll take the good forestry track heading south, which will lead us round the bottom end of Great Howe. We'll ascend up to the summit of Great Howe, return through the woodland on the same piece of footpath, and picking up the good route that skirts round the side of Thirlmere Reservoir, onto a small lane, towards Little Howe and back to the car. The lay-by that I've parked in is actually part of the old 591, and not many cars use it, so you should be fine for a space. And the walk begins at this forestry track, just right by the lay-by, and we pass through the first couple of gates. It's a good track through the wood. The river's just down to your left, and then further past that is the A591. But in front of you is Brown Cove Crags, today with a little bit of snow on it. At this time of year the trees are bare, but there's still plenty of colour, both from the mosses underneath the trees and on the far side of the valley of the bracken covered fells. The track steepens a bit here, but just enough to get the heart pumping. But it's a good view behind you, so well worth taking a stop. That's Watson's Dodd that we can see just above the trees, one of the Wainwright fells. Just as the track levels out, we're going to take this path up to the right. The gradient increases on the path through the woods and it gets a bit rocky, but it's nothing to be worried about. Just take your time and watch where you put your feet. When you reach these group of boulders next to the path, you'll see that the track does look as if it goes further ahead, but we follow the waymark sign and take the smaller path off to the right. When you get to the top of the little bit of pitch path, you'll see that there is a footpath to the right next to the logs. That will take you to the top of Great Howe, but we're going to take this path which goes to the left. It's not much of a path, but it's worth the detour. It gives you a better look at the top of Great Howe Fell. After a few metres, about 50 metres or so, you come to this little rocky outcrop with a rather nice cairn on it. And next to it is even a little seat. And just to prove that you're not the first ones here, other people have already left them out. This is the most substantial cairn on the top of the hill, but it's not the highest point. You can see that looking to the southeast, just in front of Brown Cove Crags. And that's where we're going next. But I like to do a bit of off-roading, so I'm going to head over to the left here, past this fallen timber, and take that, I won't call it a ridge, but just that little rise up to the small cairn on the top. Well, there's been some brilliant light just as I've come up from that ridge. High Rigg, Clough Head and Castle Rock, all in their own patches of sunlight. And because of the wind today, the sun pushes through really quite quickly. Quite dramatic. But let's go on to the summit for what it is. It's just here behind us. Wind's picked up a bit. And here we are. Great Howe Summit. Not much to look at, but the views are pretty good. Windy, as you can tell. The best views from the top of Great Howe are to the south, and to see them you have to just go about 20 metres to the south from the summit cairn to this viewing point where there's a rocky outcrop. It's very windy today, but on the right day this is a fantastic viewpoint. I've just come out of the wind a bit to explain what we're going to do now, because there's a real gale on the top. We're going to leave the summit, get back to the top of the pitch path, and then head back down through the woods on that good path. But before we get to the track, or when we get to the track, we're going to turn right, which will take us on the Thirlmere side of the hill, and then that will lead us back round to the car. So I may not do much filming now because of the wind, and once we've been to the top, I'll take a few photographs and fit it into the film so you'll see the rest of the route back to the start. This route of descent takes you to another viewpoint overlooking Thirlmere, but there's also a good seat. But we've no time to stop today, we'll head on down. We're now back on the path through the woods, and the sun has decided to make another appearance, which is a bonus. We're now almost back at the track that we came up earlier on, and when we did, we came in from the left and came up here, but now we're going to turn right. And just about after 5 metres, turn right again and follow these waymarked arrows along this lesser path. It's very narrow, muddy, but it'll take us back down towards Thirlmere. It may be narrow, but this is a really good footpath that winds its way through this lovely woodland. and before long you'll come to the dam that holds back the waters of Thirlmere Reservoir. You'll then come to this kissing gate, which you pass through and go down some steep steps. And you come out onto this quiet lane, left towards the dam, but we're going to head right, back in the direction of the 591. Just after you pass the farm on the left and the campsite on the right, you'll see the A591 ahead of you. But to avoid walking alongside the road, we'll cut through this gate on the right. There's a permissive footpath here, through the kissing gate and into this woodland. Well, as you can probably hear from the traffic noise, we're nearly back at the car parked by the A591. As I said at the start, it's an enjoyable walk, nice circular route with some good views, and ideal if you want just an hour or two out with the family or with the dogs just to stretch your legs. I hope you've enjoyed the film. If you have, do remember to click the like button, it's dead easy, and even better, subscribe to my channel so you'll be informed of future posts. But, as I always say, thanks for watching.